everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Blak in case you don't fucking know. Welcome to the Beastiary, where we hunt down information on cryptids, creatures, monsters, and yo mama. Today, we're delving into creatures which are it's a very interesting type of critter. Well, I call it a critter, but it's more of a cryptid or a hominid, coming out of Lee County, Bishopville, in South Carolina. The lizard man of Scape or Swamp. Are we gonna learn you something one more again, my friend? Let's get into it. The lizard man of Scape or Swamp, also known as the lizard man of Lee County, is allegedly a reptilian humanoid cryptid which is said to inhabit areas of swampland in and around Lee County in South Carolina, along with the sewers and towns near the swamp. The lizard man is generally described as being 7 feet tall or 2.1 meters tall, bipedal, and bulky, covered in dark hair with scaly, lizard-like skin on its hands, feet, and face. It is said to have 3 toes on each foot and 3 fingers on each hand. The creature has an incredible degree of strength, more than capable of ripping into a car, and a few witnesses have reported seeing a tail, although in the majority of the cases, a tail was not seen. Well, who knows? I mean, maybe these things can regrow lost limbs like most other reptiles, or a lot of other reptiles. The first reported sighting of this horrifying creature was made by one Christopher Davis, a 17-year-old local who said he encountered the creature while driving home from work at 2 a.m. on June 29th of 1988. According to his account, Davis stopped on a road bordering Scape or Swamp in order to change a tire which he had blown out on his way home. Now, when he was finishing up, he reported having heard a thumping noise from behind him and having turned around to see the creature running towards him. Davis said that the creature tried to grab at the car and then jumped on its roof as he tried to escape, clinging onto it as Davis swerved from side to side in an effort to throw it off. After he returned home, Davis's side view mirror was found to be badly damaged, and scratch marks were found on the car's roof, though there was no other physical evidence of his encounter. He is quoted as saying, "I looked back and saw something running across the field towards me. It was about 25 yards away and I saw red eyes glowing. I ran into the car, and as I locked it, the thing grabbed at the door handle. I could see him from the neck down, the 3 big fingers, long black nails, and green rough skin. It was strong and angry. It looked in my mirror and saw a blur of green running. I could see his toes, and then he jumped on the roof of my car. I thought I heard a grunt, and then I could see his fingers through the front windshield, where they were curled around the roof, so I sped up and swerved to shake the creature off." Chris's father, prompted by a story that ran in the newspaper of this strange car mauling, which I will get into here in a moment, brought his terrified son to the Lee County Sheriff's Office on July 16, 1988, at which time he told his story to one Sheriff Liston Truesdale. Now, about the creature mauling that car, it says, prior to Chris Davis coming forward to report his encounter, the Lee County Sheriff's Office was called to the scene of a strange instance of vehicular damage. Now, on the morning of July 14th, 1988, deputies made their way to the residence, which was located in a small rural community known as Browntown on the outskirts of Bishopville, South Carolina. When they arrived, the homeowners, Tom and Mary Way, it showed them the vehicle in question, and police found that the chrome molding had been torn away from the fenders. The sidewalls were scratched and dented, the hood ornament was broken, the antenna was bent, and even some wires from the motor had been ripped out. Upon closer inspection, it appeared that parts of the molding had actually been chewed, as if, an animal had used its teeth to inflict the damage. To further support the animal theory, the Ways pointed out clumps of reddish-colored hair and muddy footprints that had been left all over the car. While Sheriff Truesdale was investigating the car, locals informed him there might yet be another, more bizarre possibility. He's quoted as saying, "While we were looking over the situation, we learned that people in the Browntown community had been seeing a strange creature about 7 feet tall with red eyes." Truesdale said also, some of them described it as green, but some of them as brown. They thought it might be responsible for what happened, to the car. Now, in the month that followed the Davis sighting, there were several further reports of a large lizard-like creature and of unusual scratches and bite marks found on cars parked close to the swamp. Most of these are said to have occurred within a 3-mile radius or a 5-kilometer radius of the swamps of Bishopville. At the time, local law enforcement officials reacted to reports of the lizard man with a mixture of concern and skepticism, which is understandable. And they state that a sufficient number of sightings have been made by apparently reliable people for them to believe that something tangible was being seen, but also that it was more likely to be a bear than a lizard man. They were thinking they're trying to at least go about it in a logical way, which is understandable as well. 2 weeks after the Davis sighting, the sheriff's department made several plaster casts of what appeared to be 3-toed footprints, measuring some 14 inches or 36 centimeters in length, but decided against sending them on to the FBI for further analysis after biologists advised them that they were unclassifiable. According to South Carolina Marine Resources Department spokesperson Johnny Evans, the tracks neither matched nor could be mistaken for the footprints of any other recorded animal. Evans also dismissed the possibility that they could have been made by some form of mutated creature. The sightings attracted tourists interested in seeing the creature and hunters interested in tracking it. A nearby radio station, WCOS, offered a $1 million reward to anybody who could capture the creature alive. However, reports of the creature began to decline at the end of the summer, with the last credible sighting of the year being reported in July. Now, on August 5th, a man by the name of Kenneth Orr, an airman stationed at Shaw Air Force Base, filed a report with the police saying that he had encountered the lizard man on Highway 15 and that he had shot and wounded it. Now, he presented several scales and a small quantity of blood as evidence. Orr recanted this account 2 days later when he was arraigned for unlawfully carrying a pistol and the misdemeanor offense of filing a false police report. Now, according to Orr, he had invented the sighting in order to keep stories about the lizard man in circulation. On July 30th, 1990, Bertha Blithers, I believe is how you pronounce her name, Blithers, and her 5 children witnessed a strange creature near Scape Swamp as they drove home from a restaurant in Bishopville. At approximately 10:30 p.m., they crossed over the interstate and were nearing the intersection of Hickory Hill Road, when suddenly a large figure appeared out of nowhere and lunged toward the passenger side of the car. Now, in a statement given to the Lee County Sheriff's Office, Bertha described the creature as being tall, wide, and having 2 arms like a human. She could only see it from the waist up, but there was no question that it was big. She was not able to make out any clear facial details in the short time it was in front of her, but she was quite sure the body was covered in brown hair. She is quoted as saying, "I never seen anything like it before. It wasn't a deer or a bear. It was definitely not a person either. Well, these accounts, they all kind of go together with many other accounts and stories and folklores from many different countries across the world, all the continents, about, reptilian, human creatures that come out at night. And I mean, it's not just localized to Bishopville and the surrounding areas. This is really some crazy shit, man. It's something that I would hate to run into, I'm sure. But what I've learned in this is that the witnesses are from all different walks of life, therefore making it less likely that it's a collaborative hoax. People aren't going to go through some elaborate bullshit with, just to fool a few people. Most of the time, I mean, there are assholes out there that make it worse for the rest of us who actually want to prove these things to be legitimate and real. But that's something that happens in life. There's always going to be some asshole making shit harder for the rest of us. I digress. The Lizard Man is quite the interesting and frightening, actually, is a better word. It's interesting, but it's frightening. It's one of those creatures that make you think, and I'd like to look more into this at some point in the future. But for the time being, I'm about to lose my voice, so I guess I'm gonna hit the fucking bricks. I'm Blak. Thank you for joining us once again at the Beastiary. Take it easy.